Today's mini lecture topics are motivation and self-care, using the concepts of grit and resilience to reach your goals. So what is motivation? It's the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Notice the emphasis on action. Again, I align with the idea that motivation is a byproduct of action. We can't sit around waiting for something to happen. We have to take little actions to get that energy flowing and start that motivation. Let me just adjust my screen here so you get the whole quote here. Angela Duckworth does a wonderful TED Talk, and it's on our module about grit, the concept of grit. And that is, having passion and perseverance for long-term goals, having that stamina. And that requires us to do the work day in and day out, even when we don't want to, even when we feel sluggish, just sort of chipping through and realizing that life and our college career is a marathon, not a sprint. And we're going to have days where we don't feel like doing our work. That's completely normal. But it's that day in, day out, checking off the things on your to-do list that will get you to graduation. Another concept I love talking about is resilience. It's the perseverance in the face of obstacles and challenges. And none of you would be here today if you didn't have a little bit of resilience. But we once thought resilience was something you were born with. But now we know that resilience is actually something you can build in yourself. Especially through the pandemic, this has been a huge lesson for all of us. So these are some of the things that promote or build resilience. So connecting with people on campus, friends, family, calling family during the week, just making that connection. Some of you are on athletic teams. Having that sense of connection to others, to the college, to your family can really help to buoy you up when you need it the most. Realistic optimism. So we talk about growth mindset, and I'm not a big fan of I guess I am, the power of positive thinking. I like realistic optimism. So, a course that I may struggle with and have had trouble with, I may not be able to get an A, right? But if I work hard, I can get a decent grade in that class, a C, a B. So realistic optimism, instead of constantly having that negative self-talk, I can't do this, this is too hard for me, I hate math, all the things that we tell ourselves, we can turn that around by being realistic and saying, you know what, I find this subject difficult, I'm not good at it yet, but I want to at least pass with a decent grade. Problem solving. Nobody gets through college without having that ability to problem solve and get through challenges and difficulties. So this is, and sometimes when we come upon a problem, we just sort of throw our hands up and give up. And that's not going to lead us to our goals. It's chipping away. It's talking to people. It's trying to find an answer to our problems that helps. Having good self-awareness to know, how am I feeling? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling overloaded? Do I need to get some assistance or help? Do I need to talk to somebody? And it may be tied in also with that sense of emotional regulation. Oftentimes the semester goes up and down and our feelings go up and down. So just trying to work on some of that emotional regulation, and it may be helpful to go to counseling and talk with somebody. I always say I never would have made it through college if I didn't have a counselor that I worked with on some of those things like self-awareness and emotional regulation. And finally, a sense of purpose. And I think Morgan says it best, our peer Morgan at NAS says, that she did an exercise with me in class where she wrote down on a flashcard her why. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? And unbeknownst to me, a couple semesters later, she told me she still has that little flashcard somewhere where she can see it every day. So connecting to our sense of purpose, like, why am I doing this day in, day out, hard work? Why am I doing this? And hopefully it's to get your degree, to have more options available to you in your career, to have a good sense of accomplishment when you earn your degree. So those are some of the things you can do to actually build your resilience muscle. So you have to think about what motivates you. You know, is it achievement? Is it the sense of accomplishment, your goals? Is it pleasing or helping others? Is it financial security? Is it a love of learning? All of these are legitimate reasons to be motivated to do well and to work hard. But there's two types of motivation: extrinsic and intrinsic. X meaning outside of yourself, things, monetary rewards, cool sports cars. I had a student one time who loved this green sports car. And intrinsic is more internal, the things like accomplishment and value and self-worth. So I would say that one isn't necessarily better than the other. Extrinsic can be really, really powerful. So like if somebody said to you, I'm going to buy you a car, or I'm going to give you $1 million if you get good grades this semester, you would be pretty motivated, right, to get that thing. But once that semester's over and you get whatever the prize is, your motivation may not be as strong. So extrinsic can be really powerful, but it often fades fast once the prize is won. Intrinsic, though, that sense of self-worth, accomplishment, is much stronger over time. It tends to last longer. So it's that feeling of accomplishment that you can generate in yourself. So be aware of what's motivating you and really try to work on developing that intrinsic sense of, I want to do this for me. Okay. Your college education, you know, I never would have gotten my college education if my parents, especially my father, didn't encourage me. But at some point I had to buy into it as my goal because I'm the one doing the work. And it had to become something that was motivating to me. So let me just make sure you can see this here. I want to go back here. Hang on one second. You can tell this isn't fancy editing here. It's just me working on this here. So the Forbes magazine talked about the 7 steps to staying motivated, and we've talked about these throughout the semester. So setting a goal and visualizing it, down to the minute detail. So setting up those SMART goals. I want to achieve at least a 3.0 GPA. Make a list of the reasons why you want to accomplish that goal, right? So you want to have a successful semester, so you have a successful year, so that you eventually earn your degree. And again, we've talked about this the whole semester too, breaking goals down into smaller pieces and seeing that your to-do list this week is directly connected to you getting your assignments done in the next week or two, which is directly connected to how you do this semester, which is directly connected to your successful year at NAS. And then it's directly connected to you getting your degree. So doing your to-do list this week is working you towards getting your degree. Have a strategy, but be prepared to change course. Some of you, we've talked about this. You've decided to change your major and head in a different direction. That's okay. I changed my major at least twice. So realize that it's about moving forward and making adjustments when you need to. You're going to hear me say this a few times, but getting help that you need, whether it's tutoring, whether it's counseling, whether it's working with professors or your peers, get the support that you need. Predetermine how you're going to deal with flagging motivation. So your motivation is going to go down. When students first feel that drop in motivation during their first or second semester, or maybe even your third or fourth or fifth semester, you feel like, oh no, what does this mean? Does this mean I'm not happy here? Does it mean I'm in the wrong major? No, it doesn't mean any of that. It means you're getting a little burned out. You need to take a rest. You need to break things down. You need to take care of yourself. So keep that in mind. And continually check in with your reasons for carrying on. So again, it's sort of the Morgan flashcard principle, right? Put the reasons you're doing this right in front of your face so you remember. So how do you stay motivated? Well, it's a trick question. You can't. Okay, your motivation is going to go up and down. But motivation requires action. So just giving it something to push you ahead, something to feed on, something to move you forward. And again, adjusting values and goals if you need to, having those visual messages of why you're doing it, tapping into faith or spiritual practices if you have any to feel connected to a greater sense of purpose. And then checking in with your physical and emotional health. I gotta check in with my health here. I got a cough. To make sure you are in good condition. And so that brings us to a psychological concept called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Some of you have either taken or will take Psych 101. We'll learn about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Why this is important is if you don't take care of the base, right? The physiological, eating, sleeping, sex is even in there too, sleep. If you don't take care of that base, then you can't really fully focus and reach your potential in some of these other aspects above. And the top ones are esteem and self-actualization. So some of the things you really need to be effective in college, like creativity and problem solving up on the top, if you don't feel safe and have a sense of security and get your basics met of food and sleep and all of those things, you will not be as effective in problem solving and applying yourself in an educational setting. So remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you've got to take care of the basics in order to be an effective student. So again, just to review some concepts, self-care in college. So you want to be building in times for break and decompressing. You want to be able to ask for help. Especially the culture at NAS is really that people ask for help. Good students go for tutoring, counseling. They contact their professor. Even if something's gone wrong and some things have slipped and you've been falling behind, don't be afraid to contact your professor and just be honest with them that you're feeling a bit down right now, or you're feeling really anxious, or you're having a tough time. Let your professors know what's going on and seek help. We've talked about this earlier in the semester, but try to find a schedule that builds in frequent prep and study time. Remind yourself of your why. I can't stress enough how important that is. Remember to eat on a regular basis and add in healthy choices where you can. Drink plenty of water. Carry a water bottle around. I do. I try to, or at least remember to. And finally, just know that you're not alone. A lot of times when we're in college, we think we're the only person who's feeling maybe anxious or disconnected or overwhelmed. I would venture to guess 99.9% of your peers may be feeling exactly the same way. And sometimes it just takes reaching out and shaking off those feelings to really be able to kind of keep going and move on. So stay healthy and stay focused on your goals and why you're doing this.